Have you noticed the season changing? If you're living in a place with 4 seasons, you're probably feeling the cooler air, watching a few leaves fall, switching your thermostat from air conditioning to heat, and pulling out a few of your favorite long sleeves. And of course, you've likely spotted the return of Starbucks' famous pumpkin spiced latte. But if you're in a tropical spot like Hawaii, the change is still there. Big swells rolling in on the North Shore and calm, glassy waters favoring your South Shore beaches. But the real question is, are we feeling the same shift inside? You know, fall isn't just about the cozy drinks and crisp mornings. It's time to press pause, clear out the mental clutter, and realign with what truly matters. Today, we're diving into how this season can help us reset, get motivated, and crush those big goals we've been working towards all year. Today, we've got 7 powerful tips to help us realign our mindset and finish the year stronger than ever. Before we dive into those 7 tips, I want to share a quick story with you about the physical changes of what we're doing right now. Hey, Dave. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me back on the podcast. So I do have to say that I am not a fan. No, I'll use the word hate. I hate the pumpkin latte. And so I'm just not a fan of that.
Okay.
I don't think they should start it on July 4th like they did. It's a little too early.
I did not see the sign out July 4th, but that's funny.
And I never think of fall as sort of a reset time. I always think of it as like empty the tank.
Oh, interesting. I definitely see it as a reset.
It's for me, it's go time, right? It's the third quarter. We're not even, we're not even in the last part of the year. So I think they just put out the decorations way too early. Our neighbor has all of their Halloween stuff up already.
Yeah, they're really excited.
They're really excited. And they're eating candy every night. So they're really getting larger every moment.
Hey, listen, you know what? All of those beautiful decorations are probably fueled by the kiddos that are at home that are super pumped up and fired, and it could be their first Halloween. So you know what? Shout out to the Halloweeners that have to get set up early. We totally get it.
But we did jump into fall cleaning this weekend, right?
We did. Yeah, we wanted to share kind of what we've been doing with our reset right now. Yeah, share away, Dave.
Well, so the neighbors probably think I'm crazy because out came the park tool, the bench, right, for the bikes. And I drug all of the bikes out of the garage and I meticulously cleaned them one by one.
You did.
It was not a whole day adventure, but it was a half day adventure because, they get sort of nasty over the summer, especially the mountain bikes. And you have some time to like wipe them off, but it was definitely reset time for the bikes. So the neighbor kept looking out at me like, another bike? How many do they have in that garage?
It's a Park Tool bike stand that is really helpful when you need to wash and clean bikes up. But the season has flown by and we've been so focused on getting our training in on the runs and getting our cross training in on the bikes, but we don't take time to like clean the bikes. And, they have been dirty since we got back from Moab earlier this spring.
I think they got a little bit dressed up since then.
Do you?
They didn't have as much red dust on them. I did blow them off, but it was just time to like break down everything and clean them. What did you do while I was cleaning the bike?
I think this part of the season is great for physical change. Before we dive into mental change, I love doing an early fall cutback in your yard. I love having just the landscape a little bit tidied up, getting the fall foliage just cut back just a smidge where things are still looking pretty tight. You still got some texture on the yard, but things are tidied up around the yard before things get too crazy, because I really only like to do maybe 2 or 3 fall big cutbacks. So yeah, this is our first pre one.
And you're already planting bulbs?
Yes. So the neighbor across the street has this little area, which is so cute. I'll have to take a video of it so I can show it to the YouTubers here, where you guys can see it. But we are planning on taking out all of her zinnias, and we're going to try to fit in. I was doing the math yesterday, and I think with her square footage, we can fit in about 255 bulbs, which is like them touching each other. Maybe 300. I'm going to try to shoot for 300. But I think, bulbs can be packed in pretty tight. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be really fun.
And I think that's an interesting metaphor, right? Because you don't reap the rewards of planting bulbs until next spring.
Yeah.
But that's true with everything we talk about here on Embers Rising, and that is you got to put in the work, right?
Yes.
And if you're planning for an incredible spring, even though it's fall and we're all sort of like pressing reset and sipping lattes, it's time to plan what your next move is, so that when the sun comes out, things spring up and you've got a beautiful, beautiful life in front of you.
That's so true. And the reason Dave and I also were really getting these extra things done is because the next 4 weeks are really packed with not only our races coming up, but with family events that we have as well. So we just are very limited on time over the weekend. So we're like, hey, let's make sure we get this on the schedule and get this done. So also, we are resetting our garage gym. Yes, we did get the Nordic Trek set up, but now we've got to get the 2 Wahoo kickers set up within 2 new monitors. So it's going to be stellar in there. I'm excited.
Yeah, and they can't go on the Wahoo with being dirty. So
Yeah.
it's time. It's time for
So it's a big cleanup. We've been working in the garage for 4 weekends in a row. We've been telling you guys this. But
what's your favorite time of year? What's your favorite season?
Oh, summer. Absolutely. I am born like summer. I wish my first name, middle name, and last name was just summer. So yeah, pretty much summer. But I wanted to bring you guys up to date on our race season, training season. We are in race week number 1. This is it. We have our first race to kick off the race season here for fall, happening this Saturday. We're doing a half marathon road race, and I believe the race is called Fit One.
It's the Fit One half marathon.
Yeah, it's like the largest community race here in Boise.
And it's on the same day as our regular long run, so it's just another long run for me.
It's the training run.
And I'll be leading the pack, and by leading the pack, I mean I'll be behind you quite a bit. So
no, it's going to be great. Yeah, and then next weekend we'll have our 27K. We'll have a recovery week after that, and then the next one we do our 50K. So it's kind of back to back. We are super fired up and really excited. So speaking of that, Dave, tell us, how was your training this weekend? Because we had to fit in one more long run over the weekend.
So, it was a foothills run. We did
the race course.
We did the race course. We did 15 miles of it anyway, a little over 2,000 feet vertical. It was like a 3-hour run. And it was awesome, except we had to turn around, about a half a mile into it and go back to the car. Why was that?
So it's great. I actually need to share the video. I was like, hey, we're all set. I close the door, lock the car up. We're good to go. I start running down the road and I'm doing my mental check and I'm like, that's interesting. I'm going on a 3-hour run and I have no hydration flasks with me. I have no electrolytes. I have no carb electrolytes. Yes, we had to turn around and go back and snag those out of the car.
But we did restock the toilet paper, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's for another episode.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay.
But you don't get to do that on race day. So race day, you get what you get.
So my long run this weekend was absolutely incredible. Effort-wise, it was a 10 out of 10. I felt like a wild stallion. I just unleashed myself because I thought that you had picked up a pacer, like maybe a half a mile behind me. And I thought I heard the 2 of you talking. So I'm like, David's good. I don't need to stop. I'm just going to keep on going. And I did. I'm like, you're good. And it's just the 2 guys that were behind us, I didn't even know who they were, but I really thought it was you the whole time. And the same shirt, same pack. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm just going to keep going. So I really did the hardest run I probably have ever had up there. In fact, I beat those 2 guys up to the top, which is a huge, big win for me because that never happens. And you know what? Listen, if you're a runner out there, it is so rare to get compliments from other runners. So you know how it feels when someone gives you a compliment. So just remind yourself to give other people compliments when you see them out there and they're making a big effort, even if they're making a small effort. The guy that we've seen out there so many times named Phil, who has these walking sticks, he had literally a leg boot, walking boot on, and he was out there. He must be like, 95 or something.
He is always out
there.
He
is amazing.
And yeah, Phil is an older gentleman.
He is an older gentleman.
And I've never
seen
him miss a day. He looks a little bit like a skeleton. He cast boot thing on. He's got his poles.
Oh my
And he's
gosh.
doing the uphill, and he's like happier than
Yeah.
you can imagine.
She's just out there. It's awesome. Anyway, those two guys did give me a compliment, and it just makes me feel so good. So just a reminder to give other runners out there compliments, because it really stays with you for a long time. And from a runner to another runner, when you get a compliment, it just feels good. So yeah, man, big shout out to those guys. Thank you so much. And it was a fantastic run. If I could have given myself first place on that day, I would have given myself first place, because I did my biggest effort. The only thing that I was a little bit freaked out about was I did not pay attention to one section of the course as I was starting to worry about where you were. I glazed over the hillside and almost tripped. I mean, I did trip. What am I talking about? I did trip. My other leg came up and caught me, but I almost just landed right on my chest. That was a little scary.
So I'm not sure where I would have picked up a pacer out there behind a sagebrush or the pacer vending machine, but you ran an awesome run.
Yeah,
So those two
thank
guys
you.
did pass me. We had a little conversation. And the guy said, I'm coming for you. I'm like, everybody is. So after that, I got to the one saddle, and I'm like, have I taken a wrong turn? Because I normally see you somewhere in the distance. So I called you, and I'm like, where are you? But you didn't answer. So I figured you were just out there. And you were. But yeah, it was an awesome run.
It was a great run.
And it was a beautiful morning. It was fall.
It was a fall. It was very windy. We had a lot of wind. It was a lot of wind. I was like, all right, this is like a Maui wind.
Wind and cool, and the summer strollers are all gone. So
Right. Yeah. No, it was definitely windy. I had to turn my hat backwards running. But anyway, so that's our training update. We are feeling ready for the season. Despite all of the aches and pains that I have had, I cannot believe that I'm actually going through with this. I'm doing pretty good. The knees are still trying to heal a little bit. I have not gotten my second opinion, but I do my second opinion at the end of the month. So I'm excited about that, just to see what options are. And yeah. We've been telling you also, switching gears, about AI mastery. We've been going through AI mastery with Mind Valley. Last week, every episode for these next 4 months, we've been sharing a couple of tips about what we've been learning. Last week, we touched on image generation on GPT, using AI, and then tapping into the full potential of structured responses like JSON. That sounds probably way over some of y'all's heads, but that was an organized structure data and using that effectively in web applications to pull data. And that was absolutely incredible. If you're like, whoa, that's just blowing my mind, I'll give you an example of what we learned of pulling a medicine bottle label into a structured database that funneled everything from every piece of data that was on the medical label, which in the past, a company would normally manually do this with a team. And now you can just upload the image, and it, with the structured responses set up, and I'm not going to say coding, because we have structured responses set up that can actually pull all that data and feed it into like an Excel sheet, a database. It was pretty incredible. The image generation, though, Dave, what did you think of that?
I think the image generation is incredible. Yeah, not only that, but we're also now creating and producing our own music using AI.
Yes.
That's fun, right? We're really touching on everything from content to coding to graphics to sound to video, like just applying AI to everything that we do. And, it's just a learning curve. It's just like running. You got to plant the bulbs, and hopefully they come up during the spring.
We are staying on top of the AI, for our marketing and clients and everything for our businesses. So it's very exciting. But okay, switching again, reminder, we are live on YouTube. If you haven't caught the podcast on YouTube, just search for Embers Rising Podcast. Just want everyone to know that. And before we really get into this season of motivation and reset episode, we want to take a pause and acknowledge you for making the choice to be here with us. In a world where your attention can be pulled in so many different directions, you decided to focus on yourself today. And that's super powerful. In these moments of showing up when no one else is watching, that create real change in your life. So a huge mahalos, and thank you for pressing play, for investing in your growth today, and for taking a step towards becoming the person that you're meant to be. So you're joining us. We are so stoked, man. And I know we want to dive into this episode. I do have some shout outs that I do want to jump into, Dave. And I think some of these are in alignment with last week's. So I'm just going to mention those if you don't mind. By the way, shout outs. We do shout outs every episode. If you have a chance to leave us a comment wherever, our team will try to catch that and bring you on. So we are looking at those. My assistant's looking at those. And so whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, any of those, we are out there and we would love you to be part of our community. So even if you're just shouting out about one of our posts that we did. So I'm just going to run through those really quick because I do feel it's important to include our community part of our Embers Rising community. It's just important. So Dave's like, oh my gosh, you're on a tangent. But listen, I'm going to jump in. So we got a shout out from a guy named Oscar. I want to say Strachan. I think this is LinkedIn. I did a quote post about we rise by lifting others. And Oscar says, lifting others as we climb creates real impact and makes the journey worthwhile. Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, definitely. That's why we're here with you for sure. Victoria, I want to say Banzasek. I cannot pronounce your last name, Victoria. I am so sorry. She's in communications at TruePick. She, with the same post, mentioned, love this. When we achieve success, we should not forget to support others in their journey. Totally true. So, and then we have one from SEO_expert_Hassan. Not sure. This is from Instagram, who says, beautifully said, true growth and success are found when we rise together, lifting each other higher along the way. So thank you, SEO_expert. That's really cool. We appreciate that. We had a post that went out on just healthy meals, and Linda.sheen.shine, we see you. You're always out there for us. And she says, hey, totally agree. Love mixing spices with me on my meals too. Love that. Jessie B, love her. This inspires me to make more protein bowl meals. Hey, Jessie, take a picture and show us your protein bowls meals. We want to see what you're making. Might inspire us too. That's great. And then there was a podcast short that went up, and it was all about when we talked about, or I guess when I started talking about working together and really finding the truth in being clear and non-negotiable when it comes to clarity in business. So we had a couple of comments. Uprooted Traveler, you're out there with us. We know you. Thank you. Says, this is such a good message. Honestly, miscommunication causes so many issues across the board, from personal relationships to businesses. And man, don't we know that? So clearing up communication is super important. Proactive Marketing Instagram says, yay, clarity sets the right tone and keeps everything flowing smoothly. Yes, thank you, Proactive Marketing. And then my last one was, I did a post on just my hydration vest and everything I kind of bring on long runs. And I think you guys are new for us, but Red White Adventures on Instagram says, I'd love to get into trail running. Seems hard, but super fun. Yeah, hey, Red White Adventures.
Get one of those backpacks that you can put in snacks, and that's the only reason I'm out there running.
I was going to say, if you don't know David's story, which we'll have to break this down, Dave. David was not a runner. I'm going to say was not a runner, and
you said it right twice.
Was not a runner, and so today he is a trail runner. So I mean, it is hard, but I think with anything that's hard, you can start small and take little steps to get there.
By the inch, it's a cinch, right? And so
we're encouraging you to go for it.
Just committing to the activity and doing it over a period of time. You got to put in the reps, and pretty soon you've got the skill.
You have to go for it.
Although I'm still very slow at the skill, but I'm getting there.
I thought that was my last one, but I do see one more on here. David, you had a short that went out on my channel talking about the unpopular opinion, where most people are stuck replaying the past, letting go of old patterns, and dictating the next 24 hours. Joel Norton, ex-agency CEO, says, this is a valuable takeaway on living intentionally and not staying stuck in the past. Thanks for bringing it to the light. And I believe that was LinkedIn. And then Ayman Aslam says, mostly it's because they have some fears. It's hard to see bigger picture if you're not willing to take risks. Thank you, Ayman. And then Robin, Amy, says your perspective resonates deeply. It's like a sports team stuck in old plays without a fresh playbook. They'll never score. Let's embrace change and forge ahead. I think we may have shouted you out for that again because that was so good, Robin, because you had mentioned that. So awesome. Thank you so much. That's great. Yeah. So really, welcome to episode 29 of Embers Rising. We focus on resilience, lighting up the fire inside, and rising stronger through every challenge. And today we're leaning into the energy of the fall season and exploring how this time of year offers the perfect chance for us to realign, refresh, and reignite our motivation. We've got 7 actionable tips to help you create and clear the mental and physical clutter so you can finish the year stronger than ever. So let's dive in and fan those flames and get going. What do you think, Dave?
I think let's go.
So when I was putting this together, I didn't want to just share with you, hey, here's 7 tips. I want to make sure that you had a little bit of preference for each tip, an action step, and then also an empowering thought to walk away with. So, wherever you're at in this episode right now, whether you're sitting down and listening, whether you're, running errands, on a run, on a bike ride, whatever you're doing, you don't have to take notes, but these are some great mental notes to think about as we're in the season of change. So that's where I really wanted to go. And number 1, I'm going to dive in, if that's okay. Dave's got his notes too.
Yeah, let's roll. I didn't see your notes, so
okay.
This is all a surprise.
So number 1, you have to embrace the reset mindset. Embrace the reset mindset. Fall is the season of letting go. Trees are shedding their leaves to prepare for the renewal. And it's the natural rhythm. This natural rhythm really invites us to do the same thing in our lives. And what I'm talking about is start thinking about the outdated beliefs, maybe toxic habits, compulsions you've had, limiting routines that are holding you back. Fall is really a chance to release and make space for something new.
It's also a time of abundance, right? Because it's harvest time. And, traditionally, this is when you reap everything that you sowed earlier in the year. And so I sort of like to think of it that time. When I look at fall, I don't see the leaves dropping and feel sad. I just feel abundant.
That's awesome. I do too. When I see the fall leaves, I just embrace the season. I love the fall weather. It is so beautiful. You get those early morning sunrises that are just a little bit different. The sun's setting in the sky a little bit differently. The leaves are changing in the colors just at the very tips. It's starting to come down. Unless you're up in the mountains, it's already changed, Getting
our second snow of the year, I guess, in the Sierras and
it's
here.
It's awesome. So
and I agree. So, for me, fall, that light that's always a little bit lower creates those shadows. And it's just this clarity, right? You look around and I just feel energized and things just look clear. So that's the way I see it. Although some people get sad during the fall time.
It's true. I mean, SAD is a big deal. And we'll have to do a brain health episode on that because there are a lot of things that you can do to help yourself through that. I'm one of those people that has the sad deficiency thing, but there's a lot of things that I've learned that you can do to help yourself. And it's not just drugs. But anyway, sticking to this, embracing the reset mindset. One of the things I want to share is how we are approaching this and how we think about resetting our mindset is taking time, what we talked about in the last episode, and writing that life manifesto. Now, if you're not going to write your life manifesto, you can take 10 minutes today to journal about one thing that you may want to let go of. Like I said, it could be an outdated belief. Maybe it's a toxic habit or a relationship that you need to let go of. Maybe it's something or a job or something inside of you that's weighing you down or holding you back. So I think it's important, first of all, to identify what that is. It could even be a mindset of your perfectionism is too much. It could be a habit that's draining your energy. So I think it's important to write down what it is you want to let go of. And then at least you have that between now and end of the year. You're going to work on letting that one thing go, making that bigger change. Maybe it's embracing something that you hadn't thought about before or trying something new. So that's your kind of action tip. I do want to say this is my empowering thought for you. Don't ever think about when you're writing down the habit that you want to let go of that it's something that you've lost. It's about creating space for the growth that's to come. Because as Mel Robbins likes to say, your past doesn't define you. What you do next does. Yesterday is yesterday. Today is today. So you can make the change to grow, and man, it's time to press on. You know, this is it. You know, when I think about the trees losing their leaves, they are so happy to lose their leaves because they want to put energy back into their foundation. The same thing we want to do with ourselves. So it's a perfect time of year to be talking about this, you know? So it's like they're popping the leaves off going, okay, I'm done. I've got to reset myself, put my energy into the roots to be bigger next year, to find my growth space for next year. So
I wonder if that's what's going on with my hair. I'm just putting energy down into my roots.
There you go. Yeah.
No, but it's just interesting. You know, I was just really listening to Joe Dispenza this morning during my morning run, and he sort of has a different take on it, right? Like if you focus on getting rid of something, you're still focusing on it, right? It's still in your consciousness. So I agree, like you got to say goodbye to it, but then you have to replace it with the thing that you want in your life. And really focus on that. Because if you're always like, you'll notice the people that want to lose weight or quit smoking or quit doing something, they keep repeating that thing, right? I got to quit smoking. I got to quit smoking. I got to quit smoking. And instead of focusing on, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be healthy.
For sure.
And that's what moves you in the direction you want to go.
So number 2 is creating new goals for the end of the year momentum. So yes, letting go of the toxic habit to reset, but also creating new goals. Because when we're in the final stretch of the year, which is now, we can either feel like it's crunch time or you can give up. And here's the thing, the last few months of the year hold incredible power for you. This is when champions are made, not at the beginning of the year, but it's how they finish. Whether you are finishing your race season, you're finishing a project, you're finishing your big goals, it is time to finish those so that you can start the rebuild, the recovery time, and start anew. This is how you finish strong. So the goals that you're talking about, yeah, absolutely. I am a big believer in manifesting. And right now I am working on so many manifestations in my head of a different life as we are creating our new life manifesto. I'm so excited about that. And I think it's the same thing with like working out, you know, you can't expect to go into the gym and have a new goal and do it once and it works for you. It's repetitive. You have to consistently do it over and over, even in the days that you don't want to do it. You know why that run was so great this last weekend, Dave? Because 90% of my runs that I do out there in training are not great. They're not great. I hurt. I'm in pain. The weather doesn't, appeal to me. Whatever it is, they're not super. And then there's that day that you go out and you do a training run that is so phenomenal that you know it inside that you crushed it. I don't care if it's 40 minutes, 1 hour, it doesn't even matter the time. You know inside that you did your highest and best. And you come back and you're like, I'm giving myself a high five right now because that was freaking awesome, And I love that. So like, this is the time where you dig deep.
Agreed. Set goals.
Set new goals.
And, keep planning. Like, what is today? Today's September 16th.
16th, yeah.
And guess what comes online today? Ironman Boise. I am signing up for my first Ironman next year.
Days get serious.
July 28th.
Big goal.
Big goal. But it's on the calendar, right? Like I know the date. I know what I'm going to do. I always wanted to do one because I can swim, I can bike, but the running thing has always been my nemesis. And now we've conquered that. So it's on to the next thing. What do you think? Are you going to do it?
I am not going to do an Ironman. I think
it's going to hurt so good. It's going to be summer. It'll be 100 out. Perfect time to do it.
It is a perfect time to do it. It's just the reason I'm hesitating is because my bike crashes have really been severe, and I'm afraid to ride in a bigger pack of people. So it definitely holds me back. It's why I'm not racing bikes anymore. I don't even want to be around like a pack of bike riders that go on like the big, group rides. I just can't do it. I just can't have someone I cannot have another crash on my head. So, my brain freaks out about it. If someone else could do the bike ride part, I could do the swim and the run. We're good,
Well, we lived in Hawaii for so long, and Ironman is such a huge part of the culture there.
It is, for sure.
It's part of the people.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about it. There's a lot of people that train. We get to see the Ironman pool, right, where everybody is out training. We've get to go out and swim the buoy
Swim the
line.
buoy line,
And
in Kona.
yeah, and that's awesome. And so it's been on my bucket list
That's so cool.
secretly. And,
That's awesome.
Well, maybe not so secretly. But, you know, the thing is, people always ask you, like, you've got the Iron Man hat on. They're like, are you an Iron Man? You're like, no, we just live there. So it's time to say yes.
You're going on.
And I think it's a good choice for you. You have done so many things athletically in your life. It's incredible. And at some point in time, one of us needs to be crew.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Well, you know,
like you said you might do...
Leadville 100?
Yeah, the Leadville 100. Hey, I'll be crew.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I'm just throwing that one out there. Yeah, I have not picked my races for next year, and I hope that if you're listening to this and you can come race with us, that would be amazing. I would love to see you out there. So, and listen, hey, if you're in Boise this weekend and you are here, come race with us. Come see us or meet us at the finish line.
Yeah, or if you're coming to do the bogus 50-50. Or the Sasquatch
Shuffle. Or the Sasquatch Shuffle in
McCall,
Idaho. That would be amazing. Yeah, come run with us. We'll be there. Hang out at the aid station. So really for this one, what we're talking about is picking one big goal that aligns with your vision. Now, David's is the Iron Man. Maybe it's a health milestone. It could be a financial milestone, a goal, could be launching the passion project, but breaking it down into actionable steps is like, we like to reverse engineer this stuff. So if it's launching a side business maybe, or starting with a simple action plan, if it's a health related, you need to commit to a daily routine. But here's how we look at it. We break it down. So listen, when we wrote our 4-week training plan, because we have 3 back-to-back races, the way I took on the training plan for the next 4 weeks was I reverse engineered from our 50K to what we're doing today. So every single day we're doing something different. Now, obviously, life happens, things change, the weather changes, and we have to cross-train that day or whatever it is, but this is pretty much how we would take on any projects or goals, is we reverse engineer it. So same thing like with writing the life manifesto that we'll share with you. Reverse engineer the big goal. Alex Hermosi has a saying that he says, stop waiting for January 1st. You don't need a new year to start fresh. This is the time. Pop the leaves off of your summer, your summer vibe. It's just a brand new mindset to get into. It's a brand new mindset to say, I'm doing it now. Don't wait for the thing to be perfect. Just go out and do it. It's the way when we started trail running, it was not perfect. It was pretty funny.
It's still not perfect.
We were shuffling and trying to figure it out. And you guys have been with us in the journey. There've just been days of massive amount of pain, and here we are finally making it to the race.
And more to come.
More to come. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hurts so good.
Okay. So we've talked about, resetting your mindset, and we've talked about creating your goal for your larger vision. Now we're talking about decluttering the environment and decluttering your mind. I really truly believe, and it's why we've been focusing on even our space that we spend every single day in, our garage gym. Our surroundings have a direct impact on our mental clarity. So when you're physically surrounded by clutter, it's why Dave is obsessed about having a clean office. It's a visual reminder of tasks that are undone, chaos that is unhandled, which creates a mental overwhelm. When you sit down in the space that you're going to do the work, whether it's writing a book, whether it's doing this project, whether it's heading to the gym, if you are surrounded by mental clutter and your environment is cluttered, you're going to feel stuck. It's time to start clearing your space. And when I say mental clutter, you're like, wait a minute, my space is clean. How do I know if I have mental clutter?
Well, you got to set the stage for life, right? And
absolutely.
So let's just take an example. Let's talk about running again.
Yeah.
What do we do the night before a run, right? Do we sit around and just watch TV, or do we get our stuff ready? It's go time. Our food is ready. The water's cold. The flasks are in the fridge. The vest is ready. I have a lot of snacks, but everything's ready. So when
Dave
you get
likes red vines, just so you know.
Yeah, send me some licorice. So when you get up in the morning, you don't have to look for things. You don't have to wonder. You stretch and you go. And I think everything in business, in love, in life is that way. If you have a lot of clutter, you have a lot of mess, right? Like, how can you do the work? And how can you get there on time? So
yeah,
that's what I thing.
I think it's important to declutter your mind as well. So Dave's talking about getting organized in your environment. Absolutely important. We've been clearing out the garage in the last few weeks to make it ready and available for the season to transition. I make sure that my office is clean over the weekend so that when I go in, I have a fresh mind to actually do the work that I need to do. I make sure for our running that we are organized and everything is prepped and ready to go for our next big training, big long runs, you know. But then we come down to the mental space. And how do you declutter the mental space? This is something that is an ongoing, same thing with your environment, right? It's ongoing. It's like having a cleaner that comes in and does your cleaning.
You need one of those things that gets the dust
clouds out.
bunnies, right? Like, and you just stick it in your ear and you just keep cleaning.
There's a few things that I like to talk about, and I didn't put these in my notes today, but they're on the top of my mind because it's something that I do that I have found really helpful. Number one is getting everything off your mind first. Whether it's in the digital format or paper format, make the list. Get it out of your head. That's the biggest thing. You need to see the bigger picture. If you are like hyper organizer person, there are tools that can help you manage your calendar. There's a tool that I'm actually playing with right now called usemotion.com, and it actually helps manage your calendar for you with priorities. We also use tools like monday.com to manage our projects and life and programs and everything we're doing, including this podcast. And then we have our paper lists, and we also have paper notebooks that we have our calendars laid down, and then we have our training plans printed out. So I also, part of the clearing out your mental clutter is I love to write in my journal at night, and I've always loved to write, and I always made the excuse that I never had the time. And I always felt guilty. I wanted to like crawl into bed with Dave, and I'm like, no, I need to take care of what I need to do. And my morning routine, meditation and visualization is all part of that. But the evening, I want to tap back in and reflect on, did I make those goals for the day? What did I stay at my highest best self for the day and actually reflect back? Because if I start to write and I notice I'm writing in the old Wendy version, then I'm like, that is not who I am. That's not who I am today. I am changing that. I will literally just start writing mantras. If you haven't seen it about who is Wendy J, you can go to my Instagram and push play. It says, "Hey, I'm Wendy J." It's like pinned to the top there. And that is my mantras. I just write those suckers down. So those are some tips to help you mentally clear the clutter out of your head, and then also in your work environment. You know, put a timer on, set 20 minutes and go start right now. Start sorting through the things you no longer need. Get the donation boxes ready. You know, physically let go of the things that you don't need in your life. Move energy of the things that are around you so you have more space for the new things to come in. You will feel so much better, so much lighter mentally to actually help those that are in need with the donations, clear out the space that feels good to you. Just do it.
Yeah, dump the bucket. So
dump the bucket.
The interesting thing is, you know, everybody's life moves in the direction of their most frequent and dominant thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're always obsessing over things that don't really matter to you and your family and, you know, the people you love, you're probably obsessing on the wrong thing. And it creates that loop, right? That negative feedback loop. So by clearing that out of your head, dumping the bucket and focusing on what you want to accomplish, right? And being realistic, like you may not accomplish it, but you definitely won't accomplish it if you don't set it as a goal and then get rid of the distractions and diversions. And people are predictable, right? You can listen to them talk and you're like, this person's year is probably going to be the same as their last year, as their next year.
It is time to get aggressive. Really. Stop being soft. Make the change. Man, think about that. Think about Phil. He is out there with walking sticks, Dave, with a boot on. He had a leg boot, and he was out there hiking. He was so far back there. He was so far back away from the road. I mean, it took him an hour to get back there. It was crazy.
So it was dark when we got out, and remember there was someone across the parking lot.
That was him.
And then you could hear the poles clicking on the pavement, and I'm like, oh, I bet that's Phil. But I doubled back to actually just give him a compliment. Again, I always give him a high five, and remind him of my name. And yeah, it's awesome.
So cool.
I want that to be us when we're 101 out there with our poles clicking through the dark.
I tell you, we will. Yeah. So your inspiration for wrapping up this little section here on number 3, Lewis Howes talks a lot about how environment literally shapes your success, and a clear desk equals a clear mind. So when you let go of physical clutter, we create space for creativity and mental flow. So pick the space and start working on it. Think of the leaves of the trees. Think of the trees dropping the leaves. Start clearing up the clutter of the space. It's going to make you feel so much better, so alive. And take those boxes to the donation. Don't let them just sit in your car for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I always have to check those boxes before they leave. There's always something in there. Like, wait a minute.
I
planned on using that sometime next year.
Listen, I did make a huge mistake one time and donated a huge box of David's favorite brand new pants or something.
Yeah, it wasn't a donation. It was called dry cleaning.
Somehow it was
my
got the
dry
wrong
cleaning.
box. That was funny. All right, so number 4, you want to think about reevaluating your daily routines. Now, routines can be either your anchor or your prison. And I say that because as the season changes, you got to ask yourself, is your daily routine pushing you towards your goals, or are you stuck in a cycle of autopilot? Now, fall is a natural time to assess whether your routines align with your current vision. And right now, we've talked to you about creating your life manifesto. I think this is a big deal. Routines. How do you stay consistent and how do you build new ones?
Well, make a list, check it twice, and then get to work, right? For me, it's simple. There's a lot of mental work that goes into it, but I think action trumps everything. And so if you want to make the shift, take that step.
All right. So share with us, Dave. Share with us in the audience right now. Share with our listeners. Share with our viewers. What is right now a routine that you are trying to make change?
So clearly I spend too much time looking at my phone at certain points of time with social media. And that is definitely something that I need to put down. It just doesn't serve me. I get it. It's like my break from
Life.
the focus work, life, whatever. I don't watch TV, so I do get my news there, those sorts of things. But yeah, it just doesn't serve me past I like to see the headlines, but I don't really know to know the details.
How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it?
Well, it's been a tough one, isn't it? So you really just need to make a rule about turning it off and putting it down.
So are you conscious about it? Are you saying, okay, I'm on my phone for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, I sneak in the bathroom and look at TikTok? No, I'm just kidding. But I think really the only time it interferes with anything is sort of that first part of the morning when I really need to be more energized and focused on my life energy, my exercise, my stretching, what I'm about to do. And then the last part of the day. So I think I need to contain it to maybe lunchtime, because I do get to digest my lunch, take a walk, that sort of stuff, right? Not bang back to work. And it's the most addictive thing that has ever landed on this planet.
Our phones.
Our phones and social media, right? It's the most influential technology of our era. I know we have AI coming up, but AI is driving social media now. So
I think when we're talking about reevaluating your daily routines, I think you have to start with doing a daily audit. I think you have to ask yourself, from the moment you wake up, what is your regular rhythm through the day? What do? You know what you do. You look at your phone, or you look at the alarm, or you have a rhythm to brush your teeth every morning. Like, what is your daily routine? Write down the current routine from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed. What is your normal-ish day? And then identify one small change that could give you more energy, focus, and joy. For Dave, he knows first thing in the morning, he could probably not look at that phone to give him more focus, energy, and joy.
And since I didn't know we were going to be talking about this, what's yours?
Hold on, I'll get back to that. For example, switch your phone for a book in the morning, or replace it with an unproductive task with a 15-minute goal setting, or even grab a notebook and write down your to-do list. Whatever it is, I just want to say that is the action tip for the daily routine audit. And I think that's so important because, Gary Vee talks a lot about successes in your habits. And if your routine is trash, your results will be trash. The key is to make small adjustments that realign your habits and realign it with your goals. So I know that when I make a change, I make a physical change. When I make even a small change, I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm making a small change, but then I have to prove it to myself. So right now I have moved the placement of my watch from my left wrist to my right wrist. If you're a viewer, you can see that on our YouTube, because my whole life I've worn my watch on my left wrist. But I am making a physical change as a reminder to say to myself, I am not that person who I want to be anymore. I want to be somebody different. I want to make new changes. I want to attract new things into my life. So I'm making a physical change to make that happen. I am really doing that. And you're asking me, what is my daily routine that I need to change?
What is the one thing that you want to change?
It's mindset. I need to continually be conscious and staying in a higher vibration of the thoughts that are coming through that are going to reprogram the things that I want to be in my life. I'm not going to let old thoughts that make me feel scared, afraid, the struggle, all of those come in and sabotage what I'm really putting so much energy into when I sit and do my visualizations in the morning. When I sit and do my visualizations in the morning, it's not just about life and love and business. I'm also visualizing things like the race course. I am sitting there for 15 minutes just on one race course. And I'm visualizing myself going through that, going through the aid stations, feeling the jitters at the beginning of the race, feeling how I'm going to calm down, what the mantras that I'm going to say out to myself when I'm out there on the course, the people that I'm going to pass, the people that are going to pass me, the energies that I'm going to feel. I think it's really important to continue staying for me in that higher vibration right now and what I want to attract. So that's my daily routine that I'm trying to crush. So it's just being conscious of staying in there and then reflecting in the evening. And I always say, I think it was Vic that taught the class, and I don't know his last name in the AI Mastery, but he said something about habits, that as long as you can keep habits, if you miss a day, that's okay. If you miss 2 days, you're breaking your habit.
You got a problem.
You got a problem. So I really try hard not to do that. Yeah.
I think it's important, whatever you're trying to change in yourself, you don't label it good or bad, right? And a lot of people do that, right? Like, I've got bad habits. Well, they're not bad, right? They're just maybe habits that don't serve you. And I think when you start to label them good and bad, you internalize some feeling of I'm bad because I have this thing, which does not serve you in any way, shape, or form. So just recognizing that you have something you want to change, and you can, shake hands and part friends with that habit. And not do it anymore, but don't label it bad, because for other people, the exact same thing may be good for them.
I was just going to say, we spend a lot of time looking at other people's lives, don't we? Where we can easily, all of us can point out a friend or a family member that we wish they wouldn't do X, Y, Z. The energy shouldn't be on that. Energy should be on you. This is your journey. Make it what you want. Set the example for yourself, your family, your kids, your partner. This is your life. David and I have been working very hard not to have those conversations about family, struggling, this and that, things that we don't like. We wish they would change this, or friends that we have that we wish they weren't do X, Y, Z. Put that energy back in themselves. That's their own kuleana. Let them do their own thing. They will find their way. Whatever it is, it's going to be that way. We can't save everybody. So yeah. Anyway, okay, moving on. Number 5. Which is perfect. It ties into what I just said. Prioritize self-care with seasonal wellness. I love this because I just placed an order to update all of my supplements for the season. Everything from, our seasonal cold medicine, everything that your body needs. This is the time to reset. I love upping my supplements, making sure I have, with the colder season, bone broth, warm foods. I'm just really taking extra good care of recovery time, your wellness time. Get those Epsom salts, man. Get them back in the tub. This is the time to shift into your self-care rituals. Fall is the time to slow down. After the race season, go inward and really nurture our bodies and minds. It's so important to recognize that as daylight shortens and the weather cools, your body craves different forms of nourishment. And we need to honor that from the physical to the mental side. And I think now is the time to just already start taking action on that. So I saw this morning, Dave had my new supplements stacked to the ceiling here.
I was going to say they arrived.
And you like stacked all of them on top of each other. It was so cute. It was like 10 supplements stacked on the countertop. It was so great. I should take a picture of it.
I managed to get them all stacked up. It was like one of those Karens, right? It was a supplement Karen on the corner of the counter.
I love it. And there is well, yeah, I could go on about that, but to keep it simple, it's really important to ground your activities right now. It's time to take care of you. Through meditation, get to yoga class, try a new yoga class, go for a quiet walk in nature, watch the leaves change, be conscious about it, listen to your body's cues. If you're feeling sluggish, try warming, nourishing foods. Adjust your workouts to align with the energy levels of the season. I think that's important. Now, I'm already thinking, I can't wait for race season to end. Hopefully we'll end up with a couple of small races for the season, like the Turkey Trot or the Jingle Bell Jog or something. I know that. But, I'm looking forward to jumping in the pool, and just hitting the off season, and starting the rebuild for next year. That's going to be awesome. But we're not even through race season. We are in the race season right now. So we have to get through October to get out of the race season,
It's become so popular that we can travel down toward Arizona and
yeah.
California, those places. And
super pumped up,
There's a race just about every weekend somewhere if you want to go there. And hey, if we need to fly overseas, I see lots of cool things in Bali. Have you seen the Bali Ultra?
No, let's go.
Let's go.
That sounds awesome. Sign me up.
I hope you have to wear a tutu and you get a Mai Tai the whole time.
We just watched, we love watching a content creator named Ryan Doozer. If you are not following Ryan Doozer, check him out on YouTube. He does incredible bike packing adventures and he just makes incredible videos. He just launched a video of him doing I want to say it was the Burning Man Ultra.
Yeah, who knew they had an Ultra? It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
I did not know that. That is crazy. So yeah, he's great. It's a 20-minute video. Go check it out. It's pretty silly, but.
And if you're into the Burning Man culture, right? Like just that 50K Ultra could feel like the Javelina or the Sedona, the Moab 240, right? If you're up partying for 4 days and then going a 50K run, that could hurt.
That could hurt a little bit. Is it Moab 240 or Moab 250, Dave?
I think it's only 240. Yeah. The go-getters get the extra 10 miles.
Okay, it's Moab 240. Yeah. Okay, I just want to double check. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay.
You're like, only 240? Oh, I'm going to do it now. All right,
we're going to do it. Yeah. So, I just want to remind everyone, self-care isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. This is a season to nurture yourself, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually as well. And I really take into change. This is the time where, man, acupuncture is great. Chinese medicine, if you're into that, or you haven't even tried it, go give it a try because acupuncture is a great way to help yourself shift during the season. But yeah, just set yourself up for success. We've got 2 more, Dave, and I want to wrap this up. Number 6, it is time to also build stronger connections in the slower season. This is mind-blowing, and we're doing it right now through our AI Mastery class. They just gave us a form to fill out to start networking a little bit differently in our AI Mastery class. Now, normally when we do master classes, it's really up to us to get a lot of energy out to meet virtually strangers that we don't know and learn about them and then try to create the relationship. Now, the way they're doing it this way in Mindvalley's new 6, I think, community is what they call it, is they launched this form. They're doing a little bit differently because Vic is working on it. He's like the master of Airtable over there, genius in AI, putting all this together. And they're asking us really deep questions about our bio, what we're experts in, what do we want to collaborate on, what we're stuck on. And I think by reading other people's experiences a little deeper will help us know who to connect with and vice versa. So I think the fall really brings this season also to making the perfect time to deepen relationships. And, you're not jamming so hard on all of your training. So whether it's with your partner, your family, your friends, virtual community, this is a great season to nourish those bonds. And slowing down creates the spaces for really meaningful conversations and taking the time to have shared moments and quality time together. So, yeah.
It's after the races.
After the races. We're still working on everything one at a time. But, I always say pick one person in your life who could use a check-in reach out, schedule a coffee, or even just send a thoughtful message. I'm having a pause right now from a very best friend of mine. And you know what? I sent her a birthday present anyway. So deepening connections during this time not only strengthens your relationship, but also fuels your emotional health. So it's important. This is a game changer. Power thought here though, connection is the key to growth, both personally and professionally. So use the slower pace of fall to really strengthen those relationships that matter most.
I love it.
That's your tip. We are wrapping this up because this is number 7. So I'm going to dive into it. This is all about fueling your passion project. Fall is the season, what David said at the beginning, is the season of harvest. It is time to harvest the passion projects. It is time to, everything you've planted earlier this year, if there's something you've been putting off, now is the time to reignite the fire. Dave just talked about that. Use the momentum of the season to fuel the creativity and progress. Something that you really want to do. Like for me, this year has been a struggle with the trail running. I really wanted to go longer and already be at a place where I could do 100 miles or even 60 miles. And I didn't even make it. I did not make it to the place I really wanted to do. My body's going to have to do so much more healing and time off and rebuilding to next season for me to get my goals that I want to make for next year. And I'm going to do it. But I'm going to take myself and walk myself through it. This is my passion project, myself doing this.
It's like anything you
as
put
an athlete
on the calendar as a goal. It's going to be way harder than you thought it was, right?
By far.
I mean, if it's meaningful, if it's a big like BHAG, the big hairy audacious goals, right? But that's cool because that's part of the process. That's part of the challenge. That's part of the joy of life, is just moving through it. And when you're always just focusing on the outcome that you wanted as opposed to the experience that you're having, it just creates unhappiness, right? It's amazing, we talk to athletes and they're unhappy about their result as opposed to just being grateful, right, for their ability to be able to move through time and space the way they do. So there is no path to happiness, right? Happiness is the path. That's a little quote from Buddha. So
thank you, Dave. I like that. Well, pick your passion project that you've left aside, or commit to revisiting something that you have been thinking about. Set a deadline. Start making the action steps this year for it. And there's just no reason to put it off. I mean, whether it's finishing a book that you're writing or launching, or a piece of music that you're writing, or trying trail running maybe, or launching a side hustle, or learning a new skill, or diving into AI, whatever it is, dedicate specific time each week, and you will really watch your motivation for that soar. Because I'm so motivated at where we're at today than where we were 6 months ago, even 5 months ago, from, our first trail race this year to Grand Canyon to what we're doing now. Now we've got 3 back-to-back races. We have come so far, Dave. And I totally want to celebrate that. Every race that we do, it's not about coming across first place. Man, it is coming across that finish line, knowing that we are safe. We did it. We put the work in, and we showed up for ourselves. And then that to me is first place.
And that includes showing up and not finishing, right? Like,
yeah.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
With everything you do in life.
For sure. For sure.
Sometimes you just bite off more than you can chew. And so that's the way I've approached this year in what I'm doing, and that is just being joyful with the experience and the outcome. I know I'm sore. I'm a little bit grumpy sometimes, right? Like when I'm like, I just crashed and burned on that.
Like the first 30 minutes of going uphill.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's part of the process. So,
yeah. So, remember this: you are one decision away from completely a different life.
And that can go both ways,
oh,
right?
Absolutely.
It can be a good decision, like I'm going to start running every other day for the next year without any judgment. That was what I did. Or you can drink a bottle of whiskey and get a car, right? And those are 2 different decisions that can have outcomes that will completely change your life.
Decide today to recommit to the project that lights you up. And most importantly, let's take action on the things that are lighting our hearts up. Those seeds are planted in your heart for a reason, man. Go after them. And we are here to support you, and we believe in you. So just to wrap this up, quick recap. 1, embrace the reset mindset. 2, set new goals with year-end momentum. 3, declutter your environment, reevaluate your daily routines, prioritize your self-care, strengthen your connections, and fuel your passion projects. This is what it's all about. Any closing thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, it's the season to plant some bulbs, work on your inner game, do something that creates some fear in you, because fear is really a sign that you're about to grow. And don't feel sad for the season. Feel empowered that change is here upon us. And the last thing is, make sure to compliment somebody. They like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Baby had an amazing run, so that was for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, for sure. Let's all work on complimenting someone today.
And not just on the trail, but everywhere in life.
Cashier at the grocery store, coffee shop, wherever you're at, give someone a compliment today. You know, your kid, they need it. Everybody, we all need a little boost.
You can either be a buoy or an anchor. So we all know enough anchors in our lives, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No judgment, good or bad. It's just don't be the anchor, be the buoy.
Well, we have some cool adventures coming up for our races we're going to share with you. But for future episodes and for our adventures or anything that you want to share with us, you can always send us a DM as a reminder on any of the channels out there. We will see it. And as a reminder, we would love it if you could rate us on Spotify. We are a new podcast out there. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcast. We would love that. Just your feedback alone would be amazing. Or if there are adventures or trail races or runs in your network or area that you would love us to join, let us know. We would love to show up for one of those. You never know. We would love to connect with you. Follow us on social media. Our program Speak to Connect just launched on wendydj.com. You can find that information. We would love for you to get into one of our sessions. They super fill up fast. So we would love it if you are part of our last 2 groups of the season coming up. We haven't really talked too much about that. So maybe we'll do that next week in our next episode. But so mahalo for tuning into today's episode of Embers Rising. We covered today 7 key tips to help get you motivated and realign with the season. Everything from embracing a reset mindset to fueling your passion projects. Remember, this is your time to clear out the clutter and finish the year strong. So keep showing up for yourself, keep pushing forward, and as always, keep going. Aloha.